Good morning. I finally recorded an episode in the morning. So yeah, I want to record my episodes in the morning because I just feel like, it's lighter. I feel more enthusiastic, I feel more awake, and all of that. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and yeah, so that's that. But welcome to Healing with Ty. And today we're going to look at the signs of healing. It's not going to go in any particular order. It's just kind of like more conversational about signs of healing. We're on episode 5. So we've been at this for a month now. We've talked about a few different things in these short 5 episodes, or short 4 episodes rather. And so it just popped in my mind today about what does healing actually look like. And it was funny because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was talking to them about my journey through rediscovering my relationship with the Lord, as well as going through therapy, and how I've been recognizing that therapy has been helping me alongside with reconnecting my life with the Lord. And so some things that I have noticed that has been happening for me as it relates to just me healing. I'm trusting people more. I'm allowing people to end more. Um, because I've learned how to set boundaries, number one. So one thing in my therapy sessions that I've been going over is learning how to set boundaries with people and individuals in my life, as well as just perfect strangers, right? As a reformed people pleaser, and I had gotten out of the practice of people pleasing. So forgive me if I'm jumping around because things are coming to me, right? But I stopped being a people pleaser, or I came out of people pleasing about 2018. That was my journey of recognizing that I was a people pleaser and getting out of that mode of people pleasing, because it was a detriment to me when I was people pleasing. However, because I hadn't been not trained, but because I still had some inner healing that I needed to do, because part of my people pleasing was a trauma response. That as I was coming out of the people pleasing, I started going into a mode of selfishness, and I started going into a mode of just coldness and pushing people away, and being very closed off and not letting people into my life, and be just really unhealthy behaviors towards relationships and people as a whole. So while it's good to recognize something about yourself and something that you do as a trauma response, but it's important to get the healing towards it, because then you don't want to begin to now doing the counter of what you were doing. And then now you're setting up a whole nother pattern of unhealthy behavior, because at the same time, it's still a trauma response. Did y'all catch that? So you may do one thing that's unhealthy, recognize the thing that you're healthy doing that was unhealthy because it was a trauma response. But then now, because you're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna people please because I recognize this is a trauma response. But then also you go into, well, I ain't gonna let nobody in, and ain't nobody gonna walk over me, and nobody gonna do this, and nobody gonna do that, because it's still a trauma response. So I had to learn that everybody is not bad. I had to like really begin to pay attention to people's personalities and traits and different things like that, and recognize that while there may be things that I don't necessarily agree with or vibe with, or whatever language you want to put on it, it doesn't mean that they're trying to hurt me. right? It just means that I have an indifference towards what they're doing. My therapist taught me that. So, right. So it's like you just walk in this pattern. You begin to just do things that just help you to stay to walk in healthier behavior patterns, right? So that's my journey, and that's where I was going, and that's what I'm recognizing for myself. So right, I'm no longer a people pleaser. And then also I'm opening up, and I'm letting people in, um um and I'm being receptive to new relationships with the people. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about personal relationships, and testing out who I vibe with, understanding and getting to know people so that I can get new friendships in my life. Because I have people. So I was also having this conversation. Like, I have people that are in my life who I've known for years, and I consider them friends. And because they hold a special place in my life, I don't no longer consider them friends. I consider them family, because there are some people that no matter what has happened, they will be like family to me, right? But there's a difference between a friend and family. Family is people who you just accept by way of bloodline, right? They're your family, they're your cousin, they're your sister, brother, whatever, mother, father, whatever they are to your life. And I've had some friends that I have promoted to family. But that don't mean that I talk to them all the time. It don't mean that we have the closeness that we did before. But it's like, never, no matter what happens in my life, I will always be there for them. If they have a tragedy in their life, if they have something that they need me to be there for with them, I will be there with them. But I'm understanding friendship. In my old age, not old, I'm not that old, right? But in my more mature age, I'm learning what it really means to have a friend. A friend is different. A friend is different. Having a friend is very different. Okay. And a friend can be like family, but to also say this person is my friend. And that's something I also desire within my husband, my whoever my future husband to be. I want them to be my friend. I want to say, this is my husband, this is my confidant, but this is also my friend, right? Okay. So that was some of the signs that I was healing. Also signs that I was healing, and signs that God was delivering me. I began to open up within the church that I attend to now. Like, I'm opening up and I'm being a part of things, and I'm extending myself and I'm making myself available. I'm not even running out of the church. It was a time where when I started going to this new church that I go to, church would come. I would get there just in enough time to get my favorite seat that I like to sit in. Then I would, as soon as church was over, be pleasant, have a good Sunday, nice seeing everybody, and I am darting out of the room. Don't say nothing to me. Don't talk to me. Please don't try to hug me, because y'all hug too much in this church. Whatever. Like, I'm darting out of there. I don't do that no more. I offer hugs. I'm opening myself up to people, just all of these type of things. So those are my personal signs that I have healed, or I'm healing, and I'm continuing to be on a healing journey. And there's even more things that I will be healing from, and there will be more signs to come within my own personal journey. But as like I said, we've been on this. You've heard some things, but then sometimes you want to know, well, how do I know I'm healing? First of all, you'll feel it, and you'll understand that you're healing. You'll know that you're healing. You'll just have a freedom. There's a sense of freedom, and there's a sense of just a weight lifting off of you when you are no longer carrying like burdens and things that you've been holding on to, and things that have been weighing you down. Like, you won't feel it. Like, it just feels like you have a new lease on life. You just feel like you got your second win, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, how many wins, WIND, that you feel that you need. they just come and they just explode out of you, and then they just start oozing out of you like, oh, there's no way to really explain it. You just know. You just feel different. Number two, and because I didn't write this down, I'm just going, whatever. But number two, it's like people who've hurt you before. You know how certain people can come around, and this is both ways, whether they make you feel good, you know, like when you meet somebody and you really like them and you're fascinated or infatuated by them, or you love them in a more romantic way and get the feelings in your stomach and your heart begins to flutter and you begin to have all of these things when you see them. People who've hurt you, you can get the same response, right? They come around and you just feel something, like you just feel some kind of way, right? When you've healed, and signs that you're healing is that when these people come around, you don't, like, you either don't feel nothing or you have no reaction to them. It's just that's that person. And if it's somebody that you are family with or friends with, they could come around and then you may find yourself opening up to them again, or you may find yourself being more receptive to them and being more inviting to them and being more open to them, right? So that's a sign that you are healing, right? Number three sign that you're healing, your confidence shifts. Okay? Your confidence shifts. So I want to say this is something that I have learned, and the language that I'm going to use is a combination of some things I've heard in church and then some things that I've heard via my therapist, uh, during my therapist. So one of my major issues that I had was concerning romantic relationships. Not always choosing the right person for me, not so much choosing the right person for me, because I think I choose well 80% of the time, but sometimes I will get in a toxic relationship. And it's not that I don't see the red flags, but somehow I convince myself to move beyond the red flags. So signs that you're healing is that although you may see somebody and they may have this potential that's poking out, or they may have some good qualities that you just are really attracted to and that you are really liking, but you will notice some things that are like, these are beyond my non-negotiables, or this is just, I really know that despite all of these things, in spite of what he has or she has, I know that they're not good for me. And not good for you, it's not always like a bad negative thing, right? It's just that with your personality and their personality and your values and their values don't match, right? And so you choose not to go beyond your convictions. Prophetess Sherry Downs taught me this, not going beyond my convictions, not going beyond my intuition, and stopping right there in my tracks to say, yeah, I like you. I have good fun with you, but you don't know how to communicate, and communication is really big for me. So I am going to stop it right here, right? Or, oh, I'm so attracted to you. You're just like my type. You got that swag, you got that thing that I like, or whatever, but you kind of lack some integrity. And integrity is one of my big values, right? Okay. So you get what I'm going. So it's like you learn to you don't go beyond your convictions, or you don't go beyond your intuition about a person, and you just leave it there, right? I think that was number 4. Um, um, and healing looks different in a lot of different ways, right? Number 5, here's a good one. You're not afraid of graduating. This is a new term that God kind of gave me when I was thinking about something. And I don't want to talk about it just yet in this space, but let me take it from this perspective. Sometimes we can be in places and spaces and situations in our life where at the moment in that season of our lives or a past season of our lives, we were there. It was good for us. God planted us in that particular situation. That was the season for that at that time. But then it comes to a point where God says, okay, or life says, okay, you've gotten what you needed to get in this season. Now it's time for you to graduate, right? Now it's time for you to move on to higher learning, just because we're talking about graduation. So let's just keep it into that context of it all. It's time to move on to higher learning. So, or higher elevation, or whatever it is. So, um, and you're not afraid of it. You no longer feel guilty about it. You don't feel obligated to stay in a season that is not yours. You don't allow people to project on you about your graduation or make you feel bad about your graduation or make you feel bad about doing what you need to do for you, right? That's how you know you're healing. You're comfortable with healing and you're comfortable with choosing yourself, no matter what people may say, with an understanding that everybody is not going to understand, everybody is not going to agree. But as long as you and the Holy Spirit agree, that's all that matters, right? As long as you and God agrees, that's all that matters. And not just God agreeing with you, because God will never agree with us. He only agrees with us when we agree with him. And we're operating in his will and we're operating in what he's called us to do and things of that nature. So you're not afraid of graduation. God had to show me that. And the way God broke it down to me is the second grade teacher is not jealous of the first grade teacher, right? And vice versa. The first grade teacher is not jealous of the second grade teacher because her first graders graduated. The second grade teacher is not jealous of the third grade teacher because her second graders graduated, and so forth and so on. However, you'll have people in your life that can be upset at you because you're choosing to graduate, or not just choosing, you're allowing God to graduate you because they've taught you, or they were in your season for this, they were in your life for this season, and now that it's time for you to move on. But it doesn't mean that you don't appreciate the season that you had with them. And it doesn't mean that they're no longer in your life, just not in that capacity. So now it's time to create a new relationship, right? Sometimes, right. Sometimes, and then it becomes it's time to create a new relationship within that person that you've graduated from. A new type of relationship, a new type of connection, a new type of understanding of because they're no longer there to teach you what they were sent to teach you, right? I think y'all understand, and I think y'all get where that's at. So, those are a few signs that you are healing, right? But how do we get there? How do we get there? It's just like in my life coaching. In my coaching that I have a coaching and mentor business for women in business and leadership. First step is, with any type of coaching, any type of therapy, any type of healing, any type of mental health, you have to want it. There has to be an acknowledgement that there's a change that needs to happen. Even in your financial life, even in every aspect of your life, anything that you desire to change in your life, there has to be a point of acknowledgement. I want to use the word acceptance loosely, because acceptance doesn't mean to agree with it in the space of um owning it, in the sense. I don't, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say it, but like accepting it, okay, acknowledging it, like this is what I'm doing and I don't like it. and it's hindering my life, and it's making me do things that I don't want to do, or it's causing conflicts, it's causing problems in my life, in whatever area it is, and I want to change it. So you have to want the change. You have to accept that you need to do some things differently in order to get the change, right? And I'll go back to talking about this about last year in July. Like, I came home from going out of town with my cousins, and I don't know what it was about the particular trip, because we had great fun. We had a good time. We enjoyed ourselves, but it was just like I came home and something just hit me, and I was like, let me cut off all my social media. It was just something that just came over me, and I took all of my social media off my phone. And it was like a moment for me to get very quiet. It was a moment for me to get it's really like a moment for me to get quiet. And I think in that time, God was really able to really begin to deal with me and really begin to minister to me, because I didn't have the distractions of the social media. I didn't have the distractions of other relationships around me, and it was just him and I. And as he was dealing with me within, I was able to commit to therapy, because I acknowledged that I needed help for my mental health. I opened myself more to listening and accepting the deliverance that God was offering to me within my church home that I currently am now, and just begin to really allow the Lord to deal with me. So you get to healing by accepting the healing, no longer making excuses, no longer shifting the blame when something can happen. It's like you can acknowledge that things led you to be a certain kind of way, but then at some point, those cannot no longer be your excuses for being the way that you are. Because you like being like that if you don't want to change. When you like being who you are, you don't change. But if you see something else for yourself, if you see a different type of life for yourself, if you see a type of a different or a better way of living for yourself, you're going to accept whatever change comes your way. You're going to accept whatever change or solutions present themselves to you in order to be and become the vessel and the person that you see yourself being in the future. Like, I see myself being a millionaire. I do. And because I see myself that way, I'm accepting the solutions of change that are presenting themselves to me, presenting themselves in a way that I pay my bill, like holding myself accountable in the way I pay my bills, holding myself accountable in the way I store my money, holding myself accountable in the way I sow my money, right? Holding myself accountable in the way I save my money, holding myself accountable in the type of bills that I bring into my life, holding myself accountable with the way I live, holding myself accountable to my business, because I know through business it's the way I'm going to become billionaire, right? Or so it's the way I'm going to become a millionaire. So the way I'm operating in my business, the way I'm conducting myself in my business, that is the things that I'm changing, right? The things that I'm acknowledging, the pathways where I will be inconsistent, the pathways when things wasn't coming the way that I wanted them to come, and I would just give up or move or bounce on to another thing. But no, sticking with it and just saying, okay, let me just sow in this period. Let me just sow in this season of my life, and just continue to sow, and then one day the harvest will come. One day I'm going to really do a deep, 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 deep study about planting. When you sow a seed, and just what happens in the process of that seed germinating and growing and sprouting up, and what's happening underground. One day I'm going to find me a good documentary on um just different type of plant growth, because that just popped in my spirit, and I'm a science nerd to an extent, right? And it's just like, because we get into these moments of wanting things to happen so fast. Healing can happen fast. It's about how you yield to it, right? How you yield to the healing, how you yield to the things, and how you just begin to reprogram your brain and reprogram your mind and things like that. But healing, but some things in our lives and some change in our life doesn't happen just lickety split, right? Sometimes it happens through a process, right? Deliverance can be a process. And I used to be taught that deliverance was a process, that it could just happen. Salvation happens quickly. Healing and deliverance is a process. For sure. Salvation happens quickly, but healing and deliverance is a process. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. This was a short one today. Very, very short one. And we'll have more to talk about, but I just kind of wanted to give those good signs of healing, that you're healing, and I'm praying for sure that you all are healing. And I really, really pray that you all are enjoying this podcast. I pray that you all start interacting with me, like, share, and subscribe to my podcast here on YouTube, Healing with Ty Young. And just leave me a comment to let me know how I'm doing thus far, and any specific topics of healing that you want me to dive into and minister to, because again, this is a ministry podcast that we talk about some things all concerning what God can do in your life. So even though I talk about therapy, my therapist is definitely God sent. She is God sent, and God has been using her to help me in my healing journey. Okay. So again, thank you all for watching, like, share, and subscribe. And then I will see you all next Tuesday on Healing with Ty Young. Bye-bye.